Bitcoin has seen a new all-time high 852 days after the 2021 all-time high. Seeing a rally over $70,000, the biggest question at the moment is how high could Bitcoin go and when will be the top of the current bull market? In today's video, we're going to be jumping into this and so much more. Let's dive in. Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Bitcoin has finally broken over the 2021 all-time high after 852 days. This breakout has resulted in a move to $72,000. In today's video, we're going to be answering some of the biggest questions, going over the short-term chart in complete and utter detail, discussing exactly what we are watching out for the next continuation upwards, potential corrections, and how the charts are looking from a structural and technical perspective. We are going to be going over the total cryptocurrency and total altcoin market cap. We are going to be discussing the recent break of the 2021 all-time high and next high time frame targets for Bitcoin, and finally finishing up on the macro charts, discussing when we expect the top of the current bull run cycle to be in. If this is the kind of content you are interested in, go ahead and smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. We have more of this kind of content in our Telegram. It is the third link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in joining our trading channel, take it to the next level and join VIP. We post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, and exclusive analysis. Alongside this, you'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our trade setup, our help, our news, and our daily video chat. If you are interested in all of this, go ahead and contact us in the pinned comment of the free channel. For more information, you can also click these links. Go ahead and check it out. It will be great to have you in the channel. Let's go ahead, guys, and dive into the video, starting on that market data. So taking a look at the 24-hour volume coming out of the weekend now, and Bitcoin breaching the all-time high, it is only natural to see volume increase. So with that increase in volume, we have seen volume sitting at 264 billion. This is 56% up in the last 24 hours, which is a significant surge. 24-hour liquidation sitting up 39% at a total of 324 million. Of the 324 million, 159 million have come from long liquidations, which is baffling to me, and 165 million have come from short liquidations. If you look at the last 12 hour, a good breach, or about 1/3 of each of those liquidations, have occurred within the last 12 hours. Which does tell us the volatility occurred again mainly outside of that last 8 or so hours of price action. So we take a very brief look at the price action. We can see within that 24-hour period, we have seen a large surge to both the downside, a huge liquidity grab, and then a large continuation upwards to around 72,000. Again, liquidating a whole bunch of long positions and followed up by a whole bunch of short positions on that rally upwards. We'll come back and discuss this chart in a whole heap more detail in just a moment. Moving over to the broader market, so DXY is still now pushing sideways. We are sitting underneath that base area of support. Again, this area of around 103 is going to be a major area of support for the DXY. We can see we are currently sitting underneath that. We do have major economic news coming out today. This is going to be in just over 12 hours. This, of course, is going to be our inflation data. So CPI year-on-year, month-on-month, and core CPI year-on-year, month-on-month. Very important, and it's going to have a massive impact in the direction of the DXY. So not going to sit here and predict too much in regards to where the DXY is going. I will say, however, while we remain underneath the current downtrend, which is a short-term diagonal trend line, we are expecting a continuation downwards to our yearly lows, which is around 100. 0.7. Moving over to the S&P 500, looking very strong again, opening up that weekly candle above that major 5,100 level. While we remain above that $5,000 mark, this red line, we are expecting continuations to whole numbers, 5,200, 5,300, etc., etc. If we do drop below, we are looking for corrections underneath 5,000. That could take us back to retest the all-time high. Again, the likelihood of this move is very, very low, provided we do remain above 5,000. If we remain above 5,000, the likely directional continuation is still going to be this upward move towards our next psychological resistances. Moving over to the Dow Jones, a very similar story over here, sitting above that $39,000 trigger point. Again, while we do remain above our 38K level more specifically, we are very much targeting that $40,000 level. Weakness will develop upon a weekly candle close below 39K. Overall, both the DXY, Dow Jones, and S&P 500 are all suggesting continuations in their current trajectory on the macro chart. So overall, looking fantastic. But enough about that, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. But like we said at the start of the video, we have a whole bunch to discuss today. So let's dive in. A quick word from Bitget and BingX before we do. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, Bitget and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the Bitget link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWhale exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, Bitget and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. Okay guys, let's go ahead and jump over to Bitcoin, and starting off with the most significant event, and that is the retest and eventual breakthrough of the prior 2021 all-time high for Bitcoin at 69,000. Bitcoin saw an explosive 24 hours, resulting in a move from around 68,000 all the way up to mid 72K. And that resulted in not only a break of our short-term structures, but we saw that continuation through the highest point of the 2021 cycle at 69,000, officially marking a brand new all-time high for Bitcoin. Now, this is obviously a fantastic thing, and there are pros and cons to this. The pros are, of course, the price action is moving in the expected trajectory based on our macro cycles and, of course, our macro structural levels. The cons are, as we start approaching price discovery and as we enter price discovery, we lose out on historical price action guidance for future price action projections. What does that really mean? It means we have no price data up in these ranges. We have nothing to go off within the price ranges above our prior 2021 all-time high, so projecting future price action based on horizontal data is no longer possible. We have to use, again, leading information, assess developing price action, and look at past cyclical structures and patterns that have developed in the past and infer those on the future price action and thus future projections. So it kind of removes an element of foresight or element of analysis we generally look at when doing technical analysis, which is current horizontal levels, liquidity ranges, and past structures. So when we're looking at the future of Bitcoin's price action, again, we are very much going to be focusing now on those macro charts. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. Where is Bitcoin likely to go? What have we seen happen to the price action in the last scenarios we breached over the prior all-time high? And how could that actually occur, or what would we expect to occur in this particular scenario? So let's go ahead and first and foremost do a very speculative analysis. And this is simply going to be doing a measured move analysis from our rounding bottom formation, okay, to the neckline of resistance, which is our 48K resistance. Again, the 48K resistance is going to be that dotted trend line on the monthly chart. The dotted trend line on the monthly chart is simply the dead cat bounce high, okay, after the all-time high for Bitcoin. We create an all-time high, we see a large correction, We create that yearly base of support. We bounce from that, creating a high that was at 48k before you have that mass capitulation event to the lows. We've seen that every single cycle, all-time high, create a yearly base of support, bounce toward the dead cat bounce, create that capitulation event to lows. We've said every single cycle, we've seen exactly the same thing. That dotted trend line acts as a yearly trigger point. So if we go back to the standard Bitcoin price action chart, what we can see over here is we do have a very, very clear rounded bottom formation. So from a structural perspective on the macro chart, we're going to be treating this no differently to how we would assess a short-term or a smaller time frame chart. Taking the measured move from the low to the top, applying that to the breakout of this structure makes a measured move range of around 80,000 US dollars. So we are explicitly now looking for a target or expecting if $80,000 is reached, that would be a key area of resistance. Now again, like I said before, as we enter price discovery, we do not have historical data to suggest where these areas of resistance are. We have to infer potential areas of resistance and then assess when the price action develops at or around these levels leading up to it. Now, $80,000, of course, is going to be our measured move target, but $80,000 is as well a psychological level of resistance as it is a whole number. So removing the fact that we had a measured move targeting 80,000, 80,000 is still going to be a key area of potential resistance or liquidity as it is a psychological level on the chart. Now, if we apply the same strategy to our tops, okay, the whole structure, assuming this is around the bottom formation, we have a very, very different target. And this takes us to a potential top target for Bitcoin cycle. From the low of the cycle to the top, applied to the all-time high breakout, we can see that takes us to a price target of 122,000, and this would be our all-time high target for Bitcoin as of right now, and that may change in the future. So right now we are expecting 80,000 to be a key level of resistance, and we are expecting a top to sit at 122,000. Again, these may change and are susceptible to change based on what the price action will do. Moving over to the short-term price action, guys, we can see in the last 24 hours, we have had a fantastic move. If you have been following the channel, you would know we are looking for a continuation to 70,000, to 71,000, and eventually to 72,000 upon the breakout of that 68k to 69k resistance. We saw an attempted breakout over here, followed by a liquidity grab. It's all good because guess what? That liquidity grab did not result in a structural breakdown of our high time frame support. We've still had this higher low over here, okay, and then we had our higher low over here, and we created another higher low. So we still had this overall uptrend formation developing, eventually breaking back above that resistance, resulting in a move to our target, which was 72,000. The big question is now, will Bitcoin continue upwards, or are we going to see a correction? And if so, what impact may that have on the short-term charts? So let's start off on the 4-hour chart and take a look at our RSI. If we take a look at our RSI, the RSI is going to be representative of the current price action above 62,000. So we look at all this price action happening over here. The RSI is representative of that price action. Again, the RSI is the derivative of the price action itself, reflects momentum in the price action, which is another word for just overall strength, or as an element of strength itself. So what we are seeing here is the price action has been rising. We have been creating a nice overall uptrend for Bitcoin here against that 50 EMA, and overall momentum has been falling. So this here is an expression of one thing, which is going to be exhaustion. So we are starting to see exhaustion develop, or we have been seeing exhaustion develop for the last 2 weeks. Now, exhaustion itself is not a bad thing. This is where everyone gets mistaken. Exhaustion by itself is not a bad thing. It is only if that exhaustion develops into weakness will the trend result in a continuation downwards or a potential correction. If there is exhaustion, as long as there is absorption, then the actual trend is likely to continue into a continuation upwards. We've seen this play out time and time again. So what are we seeing here? Again, we are seeing the same thing. We are seeing the RSI drop. However, we are creating these higher lows on the price action, so we do have absorption developing in the price action. However, if we want to see a continuation upwards in the price action, potentially that 80,000 target, we do need to see the momentum within this overall uptrend flip back positive, meaning we would need to see the RSI break above this 4-hour downtrend on the RSI point. If we do break above this point here, we will have flipped momentum positive within this range. Currently it is negative. Momentum will have flipped positive, and that will give Bitcoin the required higher time frame strength to continue upwards, potentially to 80,000. So moving back to the short-term chart, if we look at the short term, a potential target for Bitcoin in the short term could be this uptrending diagonal trend line. We do have a retest over here. We do have a retest over here. We could be looking for a potential retest or ejection from this level at around 74 to 75,000 if it is reached. Moving over to the immediate short-term price action, we can see we are potentially showing some signs of exhaustion here on the immediate short-term, on the 30-minute, on the hourly. We do have the price action again continuing upwards, and we do have that RSI dropping down. We do have potential bearish divergences developing. Now, it would not come to a surprise to me to see a short-term correction. If we do look at our VRPV range over here, we can see we start bolstering up again around that $70,000 level. That $70,000 level again acting as a horizontal area of support. Remember, prior resistance becomes future support. And of course, this area is not only going to be an area of liquidity based on our VRPV, it is also a psychological level of support, and it is sitting above the prior all-time high for Bitcoin. So a retest of 70,000 would do two things, well, three things. It would retest our prior area of resistance, flipping it to support. It would fill the VRPV gap, establishing a nice base of support, and it would retest the prior all-time high before an eventual continuation upwards. So we do see this correction down to 70k, which I would say is actually relatively likely. I would not be concerned about this, and I don't think anyone should be concerned about this unless we start breaking below these levels. Again, if we look at the overall trend, only if we start breaking down from these higher lows, so again, we're getting these higher low formations, if we start dropping the price action underneath these higher low formations, that and only then is when weakness is actually going to be properly developed on the chart, and the bears are going to take control of the short term. So overall, we are still very much bullish, and we're expecting continuations upwards, provided we can hold above these higher lows. If we do drop below about 68,000, that will push the price action back down to 65,000, retesting that initial base of support. And again, a loss of that level could result in a continuation back down to 60. The probability of this happening is significantly lower than the probability of this happening, and the probability of this happening is going to be incredibly low against the probability of this happening, as support is support until it is not. And while we are in an uptrend, we have to trust the uptrend will continue while we do have strength developing. So it's only when these levels are lost, it's only when the support levels are lost, the probabilities in direction start to shift. And if the probabilities in direction start to shift, so should your short-term bias. For now, everything is looking fine. Everything is looking strong. At the worst case scenario, we could potentially see a short-term pullback for Bitcoin, which will still be considered a healthy correction. So let's move over to the broader market and take a deeper look at when the top for Bitcoin will be in based on our historical date ranges. So we look at Bitcoin over here, guys. We can see that we have our solid black line at the top, which is reflective of the prior all-time high. And I really want to focus on that level over here. If we do a date range trend, so we're taking the dates between the breakout and the all-time high, okay? And then we're taking the date between the breakout and the all-time high and applying that in a future period, we can see between 8 to 12 bars. This is going to be 8 to 12 months of our parabolic phase of the bull run. Apply that to the current period, we can see between 8 to 12 months takes us to a potential date range of November 2024, okay, to March 2025. So this gives us a range of which we would expect the top to occur for Bitcoin. This is going to be between November to March 2024, 2025. Now we can be more specific on this if we take a look at our momentum. Again, historically, what we have noticed is upon the break of the 80 on the RSI, within 10 bars, 7 to 10 bars of that breakout, we generally see the top for Bitcoin. So again, we are taking the point at which we break the RSI on the 80, okay? We pivot above it, the point at which we pivot above it on the 80, that generally occurs around the same time we break the prior all-time high, okay? Around the same time we break the prior all-time high, we break above the 80 on the RSI. We count the average, so the lowest is 7, The highest is 10, so we look at that, we minus them between each other, that gives us a total date range of 3. So what we do is we wait until the 80 breaks, we then count 7 months, and between that 7 to 10 month period, okay, that 7 to 10 month period is expecting to be the top for Bitcoin, okay? So if we had to apply that forward, that would take us to a date range again between November 2024 and February 2025. So we're honing in on that. We are looking for a more early point. So either a very, very late 2024 or a early 3 to 4 months of 2025 for the all-time high or the top to be set in the Bitcoin. If we do one more analysis, that is going to be from the dotted trend line to the all-time high, okay? That gives us 14, and a dotted trend line to the all-time high, that gives us 13. Apply that to the dotted trend line, 13 to 14, again takes us to around the same March, April 2025. So the earliest we could see is November 2024. The latest we could see is March, April 2025. The average is going to be that early 2025 range for a potential all-time high. Where do we expect the price action to reach? Based on our structural levels, we are at least expecting 122,000. Could we go higher? Sure, why not? Maybe we could. Could we go lower than that? Sure, why not? Maybe we could. Again, there is nothing that we have that can suggest that other than speculation. And like we know, we don't like to trade based on speculation. So we have to keep that open and adjust and adapt as the price action develops. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. And we'll catch you guys in the next video tomorrow to discuss the price action. See you then.